Hello everyone, I'm Charlotte Kilpatrick reporting for Vaccine Nation at the World Vaccine Congress in Washington. I'm delighted that today we're joined by Candice Decaire of the Access to Advanced Health Institute. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Not at all. So to kick us off, would you kindly introduce yourself and the role you play within your organization?
Certainly. I am the Chief Strategy Officer and General Counsel for the Access to Advanced Health Institute. We are a small research nonprofit biotech research institute in Seattle, Washington. In my role as Chief Strategy Officer / General Counsel, clearly I protect, we call ourselves AAHI, AAHI. I protect AAHI's legal rights and intellectual property rights to ensure that we can continue our mission. I inform strategy, I help to structure partnerships, I make sure that our licenses and other commercial relationships are consistent with our mission. I have an absolutely great job because I get to support and learn about cutting edge science, and I get to help advance our mission, which I truly believe in, which is to get immune stimulating technologies out into the world and to make them available to underserved populations.
Fantastic, that's no small task, but a worthy cause. So you're joining us to moderate a panel on innovation, as you mentioned, innovation on the path to global health resilience. Can you give us an insight into some of the key themes you're expecting we might see in this panel?
Certainly. So the panel is to discuss a proposal that AAHI has been spearheading. This is a proposal for establishment of a government-funded network of centers of excellence in vaccine innovation and development. It's a core network that functions within a larger ecosystem of service providers and manufacturers, but the goal of the core network is to come up with a toolbox, as it were, of optimized vaccine technologies, vaccine components, even specific vaccine candidates that can be made practically accessible, like real world accessible. And we would have taken them through IND enablement, through proof of safety in phase 1 clinical trials, and they would be poised and ready for further clinical testing and for rapid commercial scale manufacturing to get vaccines out there once a new infectious disease threat is identified. One critical aspect of this collaborative network would be formulations technology. Sophisticated formulations technology, and in particular, access to immune stimulating adjuvants has been a perennial challenge for vaccine developers. And we do want to focus, we'll have this network, we're combining the best and brightest talents from nonprofit, academia, for-profit partners. We'd like to formulate vaccines to include adjuvants, to formulate delivery vehicles for nucleic acid vaccines to include adjuvants. Why? Well, I think you'll hear from a number of sources at this conference that adjuvants not only enable broad, durable, robust vaccines, but they are uniquely useful to focusing and directing the immune response. They also help to make vaccines available to vulnerable populations, underserved populations such as the very young, the elderly, or the immunocompromised. I know it's in our name, we are the Access to Advanced Health Institute, but this notion of access is absolutely fundamental to the proposal for the core network of centers of excellence. We want to bake practical access into the vaccine innovation and development process. What does that mean? When we're considering raw materials, we're looking at sustainable sourcing for cost effectiveness and to ensure that we don't run into supply chain issues. We're looking at creating thermostable technologies, stable technologies that can be shipped around the world at all kinds of different temperatures, on the backs of motorbikes if need be, yet retain their integrity. Because many of the places in the world that most need vaccines are the very same places that don't have sophisticated infrastructure or cold chain technology. It means we're developing simple, scalable manufacturing processes that can easily be transferred to commercial scale manufacturers and partners for distributed global manufacturing at a scale that will, again, get the vaccines out there, make them accessible to the people who need them.
That's fantastic. That sounds, I mean, obviously these are very important things, and I'm sure you'll find a lot of people here who are really interested in this proposal that you're suggesting. So
Absolutely.
could you tell us a bit about how you see the next steps for the proposal? Sort of what is the plan to get this into action?
Yeah, well, as you said, we have a number of partners and collaborators who are far more expert in this area than I, who are helping to support and advocate. Clearly, funding is the first step. Without the funding, without sustainable year-over-year funding for an effort like this, vaccine development ends up being somewhat siloed, aimed at specific candidates or aimed at specific funding opportunities. And certainly commend the government for the funding opportunities that it has made available, but there are gaps in what's available. Next Gen is focused on COVID vaccines that have advanced, to a certain point in clinical development. There's a wonderful program focusing on discovery of optimized antigens, but again, siloed, nothing that really covers that soup to nuts, baking the access into the development process. I hope that, at this panel, we will be able to, we seek input from the experts in the field, all of the people who are here at this conference. And we hope to obtain their support in advocating for funding and for establishment of this network. And it really is more broadly applicable than just those core institutions. As I think I already mentioned, each of those institutions, I'll use us as an example, right? If we were a core institution, we have a host of partnerships and collaborations with preclinical services providers for animal studies and tox studies, with clinical services providers to enable clinical trials, and with commercial scale manufacturers such as Croda. We're very excited to have a new partnership with Croda. That gives us a line of sight to do that technology transfer and prepare for mass distribution of vaccines when they're needed.
Amazing. So you've slightly touched on what you're hoping to get out of the Congress. Could I ask you to sort of expand on this? What are you here for? What are you hoping you'll leave with or having achieved?
Well, here for a number of reasons, right? The panel and the Centers of Excellence proposal is one of them, and if we can get that idea out there, certainly there are a lot of better minds and more expertise than mine out there. I would love to get input, to receive suggestions, people who are interested in being part of either that core network or the larger ecosystem in which it'll be operating. And personally, I'm here, to make connections with partners and collaborators and to learn as much as I possibly can. I left this morning's session on adjuvants it was absolutely fascinating. It was not only educational, but it was inspiring. There are so many people doing so many exciting things, and it's fantastic to be here to learn about that.
Thank you for that lovely sort of preview and review of what we can expect at the Congress. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you very much for the opportunity.